Welcome back. This time we're talking about Pitch Perfect 3, the third and reportedly final film in the Pitch Perfect franchise. Now, when the original film hit theaters in 2012, I didn't go see it, but I heard so many good things about it that I eventually watched it at home and thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the first Pitch Perfect movie. It is just a funny movie. The music is actually good, and I just found it very, very entertaining. When the second film came out in 2015, it was directed by Elizabeth Banks, who has played a small role in the films from the beginning. I found that installment not nearly as good. It was still funny, it still had some good music, but it took what was essentially a more or less believable story, although it has always had outlandish characters and situations. But Pitch Perfect, the first one, was more or less believable. The second one kind of goes sort of the Zoolander route where things are borderline absurd. And that could have worked if the first film was like that as well. It just felt like we kind of went in a very different direction with that film. So I was looking forward to Pitch Perfect 3 as a sort of an Ocean's 13 where we can end the franchise on a high note. And fortunately, I feel that Pitch Perfect 3 does exactly that. I really enjoyed this film, enjoyed it a lot more than Pitch Perfect 2. It does have some very outlandish moments, but the overall film feels a little more grounded than the second one did. It is really, really funny. There's one line in particular that if I had been drinking or eating at that time, I would have been choking or spitting. I died at that moment. It's a throwaway line, but I laughed harder at that line than a lot of films in their entirety. The film is directed by Tish C., who previously gave us Step Up All In. Franchise writer Kay Cannon returns once again, and she is joined by Mike White, who wrote School of Rock. Also returning is pretty much the entire main cast, including Anna Kendrick, Rebel Wilson, Brittany Snow, Anna Camp, Hailee Steinfeld, who joined the series in part 2, as well as Esther Dean and Hannah Mae Lee. The story picks up 3 years after the end of the second film, with Becca and the rest of the former Bellas trying to find their ways in the real world, having left college behind. And when they all meet up, they realize that they all are still being drawn back to those college days where they were all together and having a good time. And they ultimately decide to have one last tour, and that is with the USO show going through Europe. And it sort of becomes a competition between them and a number of other bands for the opportunity to open up for a famous DJ. As they say in the film, there has to be a competition, right? And there is. And that is sort of the main catalyst of this story, is them trying to relive their college years, along with a surprisingly odd side story involving Fat Amy's character, that I'm not going to spoil. You get a hint of it in the opening scene of the movie, and then they do that 3 weeks earlier type of deal. And that should have been even more outlandish and out of place than anything we got in Pitch Perfect 2, but for whatever reason, it just absolutely worked for me. And I think part of it is if you're going to go absurd, just go there, and they did. And it doesn't always make sense, but it is absolutely hilarious. If you liked Pitch Perfect and found Pitch Perfect 2 not the greatest sequel, I recommend coming back to the franchise one last time for Pitch Perfect 3. As I said, I really feel like this film ends the franchise on the right note. It is hilarious. It is entertaining. Again, has good music and gave me everything I wanted in a Pitch Perfect movie. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you've seen Pitch Perfect 3, what did you think about it? And what's your favorite Pitch Perfect movie? As always, you can subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the little bell button to get notifications of new videos. You can check out some of my other reviews. And until next time, I'll see you at the movies.